Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Now imagine this. It's 80 years from today. You're lying in a hospital bed, taking your final breaths. Your loved ones surround you. In this moment, what do you wish you had done differently? What words do you wish you had said? What risks do you wish you had taken? Now open your eyes. You've just been given a gift that person doesn't have. Time. There's a truth we often run from, a truth that humbles emperors and enlightens sages. One day, we will die. Memento Mori. Remember you must die. At first it sounds dark, almost morbid. But if you lean in, if you let those words sink into your bones, you'll find they're not a curse. They're a compass, a reminder to live with urgency, with meaning, with love. In ancient Rome, when a general returned victorious from battle, the city would throw a triumph, a massive parade in his honor. But as he rode through streets lined with cheering crowds, a slave stood behind him in the chariot, whispering continuously, "Memento Mori." Remember, you are mortal. Remember, you will die. This wasn't cruelty, it was wisdom. The Romans understood that in our highest moments, ego inflates most dangerously. They knew that forgetting our mortality leads to hubris, to cruelty, to a life wasted chasing shadows. Medieval monks kept skulls on their desks. Samurai meditated on death before battle. The Bhutanese say they contemplate death 5 times daily and are among the happiest people on earth. Why? Because paradoxically, remembering death teaches us how to live. In our last conversation, we exposed the ego, that endless hunger inside us. The ego tells us we need more recognition, more status, more comfort. It whispers that if we just reach that next milestone, we'll finally feel complete. But has it ever worked? When you get what the ego wants, does it last? Or does it vanish like morning dew, replaced by another craving? I'll tell you a story. A CEO I knew built a company worth millions. The day it went public, he called me. I expected joy. Instead, I heard emptiness. I thought this would feel different, he said. I thought I'd finally feel enough. 3 months later, he was already planning the next company, the next mountain to climb. The ego's promises are like writing checks on a closed account. They always bounce. Eckhart Tolle calls it the voice of the false self, a phantom always reaching, never resting. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, warned that fame, wealth, and power dissolve as quickly as dust in the wind. And Viktor Frankl, in the darkest of human experiences, discovered that those who clung only to their egos rarely survived. Purpose, not ego, is what carries us through suffering. The Buddhists have a word, samsara, the endless cycle of craving and disappointment. We're like hamsters on a wheel running faster and faster, wondering why we never arrive anywhere. So, what happens when we hold up the mirror of Memento Mori to our ego? Something profound shifts. Suddenly, the things we chase feel absurdly small. The luxury car, the promotion, the Instagram likes, the applause of strangers. Let me ask you, when you're on your deathbed, will you wish you had more followers? Will you count your trophies? Or will you count the hearts you touched, the love you gave, the moments you were truly present? Alfred Nobel learned this the hard way. One morning in 1888, he opened the newspaper to read his own obituary. The paper had confused him with his deceased brother. The headline, "The Merchant of Death is Dead." Nobel, inventor of dynamite, saw how the world would remember him, as a man who made millions from destruction. That mistake became his salvation. He rewrote his life story, establishing the Nobel Prize to honor humanity's best. Death, even imagined, transformed him from merchant of death to champion of life. None of us escapes the grave. The question is not if, it's when. And more importantly, it's how we live before that when arrives. And yet, this is not a reason for despair. It's a call to live. Death is not our enemy, it's our advisor, our wisest counselor. When we remember our mortality, we see with crystal clarity. What truly matters is not how loudly we live, but how deeply. Not how much we take, but how much we give. Here's what most people miss. Death is what makes life precious. It's scarcity that creates value. If you had infinite diamonds, would a single one matter? If you could live forever, would any single day be special? The Japanese understand this through mono no aware, the bittersweet awareness of the impermanence of all things. Cherry blossoms are breathtaking precisely because they fall. A sunset moves us because night will come. Your child's laughter pierces your heart because you know, someday, they'll be grown. Neuroscientist Dr. B.J. Miller, who lost 3 limbs and faced death, says, life isn't about avoiding suffering, it's about finding meaning despite suffering. And nothing gives more meaning than knowing it will end. Consider this. Every atom in your body was forged in the heart of a dying star. You are literally made of cosmic endings. Death and life aren't opposites, they're dance partners, each giving meaning to the other. Imagine 2 paths stretching before you, but let me make them real. Path 1. Sarah's story. Sarah is 45. Corner office, 7-figure salary. Her apartment overlooks Central Park. Her closet overflows with designer clothes. Her LinkedIn impresses everyone. But at 3 a.m., she stares at the ceiling, chest tight with unnamed dread. Her father died last year. They hadn't spoken in 5. She'd meant to call, always meant to call, but there was always another deal, another meeting, another rung to climb. Now there are no more chances. Her success feels like a beautiful prison she built herself. Path 2. Maria's story. Maria teaches kindergarten in a small town, drives a 10-year-old Honda, rents a modest apartment. But her refrigerator is covered with hand-drawn pictures from students spanning 20 years. Every Christmas, her mailbox fills with cards from kids now grown, doctors, artists, parents themselves, thanking her for believing in them. Evenings, she volunteers at the hospice, holding hands of the dying, ensuring no one leaves alone. When Maria dies, hundreds will weep, not because she was famous, but because she mattered. One path shouts to the world, but echoes in emptiness. The other whispers to hearts and reverberates through generations. Purpose is not about grand gestures or changing the world, though it might. It's about alignment. It's about asking better questions. Instead of, how can I get more? Ask, how can I give more? Instead of, how can I be remembered? Ask, how can I be useful today? Instead of, what's in it for me? Ask, what's needed from me? Every wisdom tradition points to this same truth. The Bhagavad Gita teaches karma yoga, action without attachment to results. You have the right to perform your work, but never to the fruits. Why? Because when you're attached to outcomes, you're enslaved by ego. When you work from purpose, you plant gardens you may never see bloom, and you're at peace with that. The Stoics had a practice called premeditatio malorum, imagining loss before it happens. Not to become morbid, but to appreciate what you have while you have it. Seneca would spend days living as a pauper, sleeping on the floor, eating plain food. Why? To realize how little he actually needed, how much was ego's demand. Modern science confirms ancient wisdom. Studies show that people who contemplate mortality make. So, my friend, you have 2 choices. You can live for ego, endlessly chasing what dissolves the moment you grasp it, or you can live for purpose, embracing the gift of mortality, using every breath as an offering of love, courage, and creation. Remember, you will die. But first, remember, you are alive. And what you do with this brief, precious life is entirely up to you. The clock is ticking. Choose wisely. But here's what I haven't told you yet. Memento Mori is only half the equation. The ancient Stoics had a companion phrase, equally powerful, that transforms mortality from teacher to rocket fuel. It's the difference between simply accepting death and truly mastering life. Next time, we'll explore amor fati, loving your fate. Because it's not enough to remember you'll die. You must also learn to embrace everything that happens before you do. Until then, practice dying daily, so you can practice living fully. Thank you.